Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels to short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. And a very good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
Oh, you know what I realized last week? Last week, I feel was like the first time in a while where like we had that early morning energy. And so I'm making
had to bring it.
Point. I had to bring it. And again today. So a very good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you may be in the world. Hello.
Yes, we love it. Last week, we got a lot of interaction, a lot of you giving us and engaging with our show. We loved it. So if you're watching now, let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to see where you're watching from. We got Lou. Good morning.
Good morning, Lou. This is great. I know last week it was a lot of fun and we've got some cool topics to cover today. But if you guys are joining us live, let us know where you're joining us from. Always like to hear.
Yeah.
I mean,
and talking about going places, look, you're already influencing people in my family. So
yes.
My brother just booked a trip. I won't say the exact dates, but to the southernmost hotel in Key West. And you just had your new video come out yesterday.
I did. That is awesome. That makes me so happy to hear. Because it's hard to necessarily see or track who ends up booking what. I did actually have a friend of mine say, hey, I want to book that hotel. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, yay. So
and there's my brother. He's actually watching. There you go.
My God. I love
directed
it.
by David Turk. He's there.
Don't worry.
Nobody shout out. We'll go backstage and we'll let you know when he's going there. Maybe you can pull some strings for him.
Ooh, I'd be happy to. I think I might be able to do a little something.
But I loved it. Great videos. Very cool what you're doing. I love what you're doing with Mr. Melchiori over there.
Yeah.
We watched it, my whole fam. So my kids and myself, we watched it and they're like, that's your friend Sarah at the hotel.
You're like, that's Sarah. My God. Hilarious. Yep.
Ooh. I got Lori asking quick routine secrets, tips for the incredible morning energy. For me, it is a Biscayne coffee. You can buy it online at biscaynecoffee.com.
Hey, Jeremy's here. Lori, if I told you what I did in the morning, you would judge me. I do a handstand. I do some push-ups. I'm kidding. Actually, that does help. But no, I have a little energy drink. But we're not plugging anybody today.
Jeremy, good to see you're here. We missed you a couple shows. Thanks for your note yesterday. Love seeing you live again.
Woohoo! Yes, exactly.
Well, we got a lot to cover today. Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. All right. So this is interesting. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this, Steve. But this particular article came out. They were talking about summer travel's hidden hurdle, and it's the impacts of cancellations and no-shows. And it goes into it. I mean, it's a pretty comprehensive article. And there was a study that was recently done. I think it was Onyx Insights data, basically finding out that in the summertime, there's the highest rate of cancellations as well as no-shows. And obviously going into all the different reasons being whether there's increased flight delays, you've got more families traveling, the list goes on. But what stuck out to you from this particular article?
Look, I saw what I like seeing in here is that first, I gave some stats where they said about 6.7% of the bookings are getting canceled, which is a big number, especially when you're planning out and you got budgets and things are happening. Yeah. But what stood out was that it kind of made sense, right? A lot of these trips are vacations where you're going to a beach. And this was kind of like me last weekend. I wanted to head down to the Keys, but we had Debbie coming through and we didn't end up booking. I didn't cancel, but we would have been there. And if it was a flexible cancellation, I would have canceled because no one wants to go to a beach destination when it's pouring rain outside. Yep. And I had some friends doing this now where they look at the cancellation policies of hotels and vacation rentals.
Yeah.
They book a bunch of them. And then whatever ends up having the lowest rate, they end up canceling the other 2 or 3 and taking the lowest.
Oh, rate. Wow. Interesting.
That's part of it too now, people shopping for rates. And it struck me because, we also have a vacation rental company called Tangy that we manage. That's I'm
Mm-hmm.
one of the owners of, and we see it now because we did the flexible cancellations, and we get a lot of last minute cancellations. But that's part of what those platforms want, is their guests
Yeah.
to have that flexibility. So it's interesting to see. But when I saw a couple of my friends doing that, I was like, all right, well, this makes sense. Now I understand why we're getting these cancellations last minute,
Ooh.
because they're shopping for the best rate. So I think that's part of it too, what I'm seeing on the streets here, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, and look, on one hand, I get it if it's going to be due to, weather and extreme weather. Yeah, of course that makes
Mhm.
sense. But I mean, I book for a lot of high-end clientele, and I mean, recently there's been very solid 2, 3, even 4-week cancellation policies. I mean, these are obviously big traffic areas. Like I've got some clients in the Hamptons, and like those are smaller properties. And
Mhm.
so they have like a 30-day out cancellation policy. I mean, even Napa, again, it's a very specific smaller destination. They've got a very, very strict 2-week cancellation policy up there for almost all the hotels. So, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I was thinking, what's interesting too is like the special suites, the bigger suites, you've
Yeah,
got much harder to cancel because those are big money numbers there,
totally,
right? In the thousands of dollars a
totally.
night. But I think some of those last minute ones, it was interesting to see how they were doing it, because I usually book and I like want to stick to a hotel, and I choose that hotel. We use our membership points, right?
Yeah,
When we get in there, we talk about that a lot. So interesting to see what will continue, because if it does continue at this pace, hotels adapt, right? And they will
yeah,
make sure that they gain
protect
their
themselves.
guests and protect themselves, protect the team members, because they schedule to those needs.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is something I definitely think about. Like for myself, I mean, I've taken advantage of last minute cancellation policies a lot. I mean, just because like life comes up, work, this, that, whatever. But yeah, especially for the smaller locations, that can really make or break. That can make a huge difference.
Yeah,
So,
the smaller
oh
like vacation rental companies, those
yeah,
things,
totally.
major, especially
Yeah.
for the team members. Like I'm not blaming the traveler. They need to do what is best for
No,
them,
no,
but
no. Of
it
course, totally.
affects everyone, especially like those housekeepers who thought they were going to have a full schedule, and they count on every single dollar to make
Hmm.
it through. It's interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely challenging. So that was a pretty cool article to read and look into. Why
Hmm.
don't we go on to our next one here?
Yeah.
IHG, their CEO, is basically pushing back on those slowdown fears. He says he sees no hotel weakness outside of China, which was interesting. So IHG, the Intercontinental Hotels Group, basically said that they aren't seeing signs of demand weakness outside of China. And so, I mean, basically, he's saying it's still busy, whether it is in Europe, it's in the United States. And for him, what he was saying is that the key measure of hotel demand I mean, it's the RevPAR, and IHG reported a 3% rise in this figure worldwide in the first half of the year.
Hmm.
So yeah, 2.5% in the UK, 4.8% in the rest of Europe, 9.2% in the Middle East. So you take those numbers and you put them together. I mean, obviously it looks pretty promising.
Yeah.
Um, but
I like seeing it. And what's interesting is Marriott and Wyndham both said that they're seeing slowdowns in their
Mhm.
properties, and a lot of it came from being in China because have so many properties there. Intercontinental,
True.
third largest but more spread out, is saying that, yeah, we're seeing a slowdown here in China, but a lot of the Chinese guests that we have that are on our loyalty program are traveling around to our other properties in Southeast Asia. So they're not traveling over to Europe and the United States, but they're traveling to other countries
Hmm.
around Southeast Asia and staying at either the IHG hotels that they've got. So it's good, interesting business model to see, like, where are your hotels? Is it just
Yeah.
because you're seeing a slowdown because you're all in one area, or you have too many hotels everywhere, right? It seems like there's a lot of Marriotts in
Is
every
that
block,
too? Yeah.
right? Or is it the right locations, the right properties? IHG is a little bit more, I'm not gonna say they're more selective, but they have fewer properties and they're in
True.
usually bigger cities. So interesting to see.
All of those stats and facts go into. By the way, how busy? Speaking of just like big cities, what's the vibe like in Miami? Is it crazy, bustling, like summertime vibes for you guys right now?
Summertime, a lot of summer vacations everywhere. There's still a lot of people on the streets, but traffic is definitely way down. And that's how I can gauge, like when I head to the beach, how much traffic am I going to be sitting in back and
Yeah,
forth? And so we don't
yeah,
have any major events here in the summer,
yeah,
right? I saw someone say this, Miami in the summer is like going to Minnesota in the winter, right? It's kind of like
yeah,
this is our winter time. It's so extreme heat and hot, which I like. I embrace the
yeah.
sweat. I
You.
embrace it.
This is what we do.
Uh, but it is definitely not as packed, and you can see it in the hotel room rates. So these beautiful hotels that you would normally be paying $800 a night, you can get some really good hotel rates right now for like 200, 250. And I look at it all the
Interesting.
time. My brother mentioning, so Miami Spice is a big program here in Miami. So all the
Okay,
restaurants are a little bit slower. So
got
all
it.
of the restaurants get together and
Yeah,
create a
yeah.
fixed menu. $35 for dinner at
Yes.
some of the high-end places is awesome.
Steve, you're
People
glowing, not
glowing.
sweating.
Look at this.
Okay.
I got my facial cream on. It's my humidity. I get
Oh
it
my
going
God, I
here.
can't. I can't. Oh my God.
Gotta hydrate. Gotta
Yeah, you
hydrate.
do. Yeah, you do. So no, it's interesting because we actually had our restaurant week in Los Angeles, the middle of July. Uh, but it's interesting because I definitely feel like what is normally a very busy, bustling time for LA, it's not quite as busy as and I've talked to car rental companies. I see it in the hotels, I see it in the restaurants. So it's not quite as busy as like what it normally is. Like normally in the summertime, it's like a zoo here. I mean, I
Mhm.
remember people would wait like 5 people deep at the concierge line to talk to me to like plan whatever they were doing.
I can tell you
And
what is pumping right now is the cruise ships. Those cruise
oh, yeah,
ships
they
that are
are.
going out of the port, packed. They're packed. I
Yeah,
was just looking, oh, let me get a last minute deal like
yeah,
the hotels. Ain't no last minute deals. Everything is very expensive.
this is
And
true.
it is interesting to see because now we have these mega ships coming in. Like we have now
Yeah.
the biggest ship in the world that docks here, and they come to port, and you see them come into downtown Miami and spend their money and all these tourists. So it's cool to see that when they're here.
That is wild. Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
I mean, hey, that's where we are.
Yep.
So just always interesting to see like how like the pulse of things, especially in the summertime. Um, well, okay, 2 weeks ago, we all heard, some of us experienced firsthand about that CrowdStrike outage that impacted this basically this global IT meltdown. And especially when it comes to airlines, a lot of most of the major airlines struggled, certainly within the United States, but the one that really seemed to struggle the most was Delta. And which just seems unusual just because Delta seems to be pretty buttoned up.
Yeah, you're a
But
Delta fangirl, like right
I
here. Your
am.
airline
I'm Delta Diamond,
fell
shine
apart.
bright like a diamond. Okay. Wow, I didn't warm up this morning. Um
Let's get your special water and tea with honey.
or ever. Um, but basically, like now there's some drama going on between CrowdStrike and Delta Airlines that they're kind of going back and forth, basically saying that like basically Delta's trying to say it's all CrowdStrike's fault, and CrowdStrike is like, well, like maybe at the beginning, but you guys are the ones that took longer to get back up and running. So,
Mhm.
mm,
Yeah,
um,
like I like seeing this. It's a little, the corporate drama, but CrowdStrike
yeah,
collapsed like the whole world. So I'm
yeah,
sure
they
they're
did
going to get investigated for whatever they got going on,
for
right?
sure. Everybody's
That
at
will
coming at
happen.
them.
But Delta now is feeling the pressure because they didn't get back up and running fast as the other airlines. And my favorite
Yeah,
part of this is CrowdStrike is blaming Delta, saying, "Well, we offered to help, but no one responded to our email." And I'm saying, "Well, maybe CrowdStrike's you know, email blocker blocked that email. They said they didn't get that email or that request, but I'll bet they're like, you're going to help us. Like you just crashed everything. We'll take care of it from here. And they just couldn't get it up fast enough.
this is
And their
just
system fell
wild.
apart. So they're saying that Delta lost $500 million just in those couple of days that they were
Oh, I
down.
believe it.
A gigantic number.
I believe it. I mean, that's huge. But again, anybody that was in it, I I mean, I have a friend of mine it took 4 days to get from Boston all the way back to Las Vegas. That's 4 days is a very long time. That's crazy.
And I still think people are recovering because my business partner went to Chicago and just couldn't get back. It was like cancellation, and they had to fly them to another place, and they didn't have a pilot that they couldn't get them, so they fly a pilot from Miami to that airport to fly them back. Like some crazy things that are still rippling through.
There's a little bit of that going on for sure, because even I last week, I was flying back from Pennsylvania, but I feel like that was a little bit of something different because they actually had to like stop the flights in Atlanta just because they had a VIP rolling through. But but still, like, I mean, I'm flying next week. Curious to see how
All right,
that
with the
will
report
be.
back.
Yeah, I
Me,
know.
Sarah, alive on the plane. Here we are, live from Delta. Here's
Here
what I'm
we
saying.
Oh my gosh. It looks like we're about to take off early. Everything will be okay. Yeah, no, it's funny.
It just makes it hard. Like it was already hard to fly, and now it just seems to, a lot of weather stuff going on around the country in multiple areas. It's tough.
You know, it's interesting for being such an avid traveler. Summertime really isn't my favorite time to travel, and I so get it. I get it, like especially if you've got kids, or that's just the way that the structure works for you. It's for a lot of people, it is that's when they have the time off. That's when they can take the vacations. That may be where weather might be better. It is, but it is definitely not my favorite time to
What do
travel.
you see different? I'm curious because I don't travel as much as you on the plane. What's the
Oh,
difference in seasons?
I call it. Oh my gosh, I don't want to sound mean. It's amateur hour. Like it's amateur hour. Like it's people that like it's like they've almost like they've never been through security before. Like they just don't understand what's going on. And I'm not talking about like families with kids. Like obviously that's a lot of moving parts. Not going to take knock anybody for that. That you're keeping track of little humans, and there's a lot going on. But but I mean, it's not even the travelers with kids. I'm just talking about people that are coming on the plane with like weird food that I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, we know we've all seen the TikToks. Like, we know you don't need to be bringing that in here. They get on the plane, then they're trying to switch seats like it's musical chairs. Like it's messy, and okay, this kills me. Okay, tell me what you think. Oh my god, I'm gonna get heated. I was getting off the plane last week, and I had my bag up above, and I was sharing, obviously, the overhead bin space with somebody else. Somebody else and it was one behind where I was sitting because I was like in the bulkhead area. So the person opens it up, they get their bag, they see two bags are still left in the overhead bin space, and then they close it. I'm like, bro, what do you like? One thing, if it's full, you close it because you're leaving and you're going to take off. We are all getting off this plane. Somebody else has to come back and open it to get the.
Yeah.
Why? It's stuff like that. Oh
Well,
my god.
what I don't ever understand, and I don't fly as much as you, is why everyone's rushing to get off the plane and stand in the aisle and like block you from getting off the plane.
No, it's dumb.
It's crazy to me. I don't understand all of this. And they just stand up for 10 minutes because they know they can't get off, but they're still
Yeah.
waiting for. Anyhow, we're complaining too much.
Yeah.
We're complaining too much. We're
No,
venting to
no, no, no,
everybody.
no. Well, it's
No
not
one wants to
complaining
hear us
either.
vent about the planes.
I'm just saying. Don't.
Just be warned when you travel in the summer. At least I don't
Yeah.
have a folding stroller anymore and car seats I have to deal with. That was crazy in the
Oh my
airport.
gosh, I can only imagine. But I mean, look, you've got. I mean, there's
It
like
was stressful. I had people
animals.
behind me, and I'm a good traveler. I was like, let me break this stroller down. I got to get this car seat through here, and these kids are screaming, and I just want to get to the plane.
No, traveling with kids is no joke. Like, and that I definitely, I commend anybody that does that, because I feel like travel is so important for kids, and it is very hard to do. So I'm always very lenient when it comes to that type of. I mean, I'm just saying. No, but it is important. And not everybody's child is the same, and some travel better than others, and for a multitude of reasons. But I'm always like, it's good that they're out there and they're traveling. So, but the other people, okay, keep
Lou
your
might go to
Panda
jail.
Express off the plane.
Yeah, that's true. Lou, I don't know if you could do that. That might be going straight to jail.
Oh, wait, renting a kid so you can get on first? Wait, I don't think it works that way.
I'll let you babysit.
Yeah, oh my God, I'll let you babysit. Okay, so speaking of, we've been talking about these flights and all of that now. We're even still seeing ripple effects. Another article came out that said the best airports for early mornings and late night flights. You
The
wanna
worst
share
made
some
me
of these?
laugh. Yeah.
What?
So best airports for early morning flights. Let's do the top three.
Yeah.
Top three. Cleveland Hopkins International Airport was the number one best airport to leave from in the morning. Then Kansas City International and Southwest Florida International Airport, which I don't know where. I guess that's in Naples area, but I like that they sell coffee for 79 cents there, and they've got little studies of why you should fly from everyone.
Yeah.
But are you seeing those as the best? Because you travel all the time. Have you landed or flown from any of
I've
those?
never flown into any one of those airports.
Now the worst for early morning flights was just made me
Yeah.
sweat a little bit more is Miami International Airport. Up there.
31.6% delayed flights.
Maybe that's why I don't like flying, because every time I go it's delayed and something's happening. So this stat helps me understand that it is the worst to leave from. Then it's followed by Salt Lake City and Hartsfield Jackson International Airport in
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
And
So
yeah. I mean, and by the way, when we're talking about delayed flights, like they're saying like the average delay is 7 minutes or 6 minutes, you know.
that still can I don't know. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
So then this is what's also interesting is the best airports for late night flights. So generally speaking, I'm always like try and get out early if you can. Because you just have a higher chance of making it to your final destination, but sometimes you have to leave later in the day for whether you had to work that day, you couldn't get out, whether you have to take a red eye, all of that. But the interesting best airports for late night flights, Atlanta Airport. So as far as like the least number of delays, Detroit, by the way, both Atlanta and Detroit are Delta hubs. And then also Salt Lake City as well too. Also another a lot of Delta flights that fly through that. But worst airports for late night flights, the Cincinnati airport. Interesting. I've been to that airport before. I could see that would not be fun. San Antonio and then Boston. And I mean, also the element of this like
Weather,
worst. Yeah,
snow, weather, right?
yeah, totally. But then it's also like what's available in the airport. You know, like when they start
Food,
shutting
yeah.
down early, and you're like, cool, it's just me and my friends. Nobody, no friends.
Yeah, at least Miami, you got a lot of bars and restaurants and shopping, so you could go do that in Miami. But
Yeah.
you don't want to do that first thing in the morning.
No. It's definitely challenging. That's for sure. But yeah, let us know. Do you guys have a favorite airport that you like to fly out of? Do you have do you like to fly out first thing in the morning? Do you like to fly out later in the day? Do you just go when you can? When I was still working in hotels, I flew any airline I could that just made the most sense. And I just went like as soon as I could realistically outside of my work shifts. Like that's what dictated things. So
Same with
I
me.
mean, I get that. But now I'm like, how's Delta getting me there?
Diamond
Hey,
member.
you know, when you're treated like well for loyalty, you get used to it. So let's talk about our last little topic here before we go on to the latter part of this segment in the show. Okay, so my friends over at Allianz always love to see what they do. Every year they do their vacation confidence index, and they share like little snippets from it, like over the weeks. And what they do is they basically research and they pull a bunch of travelers, find out how much they're spending, how many trips they're planning on doing, all of that. And so this is and they also sometimes will come up with new terms. And this new term I had to draw attention to: justifications.
That's how you say it.
Just eat vacations. So basically, despite having budget constraints, a lot of people are saying that they are being far more budget friendly this year. They are still justifying going on a vacation. I'm into this.
I'm glad you said it because I was reading. I'm like, Justy vacations. What are these?
Justy vacations. Yeah. So they said they found that 68% of Americans are confident in taking a vacation at some point in 2024. And that is the highest really that it's been since 2009. Like
Yeah,
they're like, we're traveling.
people are working really hard,
Yeah.
harder than ever. I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
people, you see it in a lot of sentiment and a lot of articles out there, and they have a vacation time built up. And not all the Americans use their vacation time, right? We talk
No.
about this a lot. And so I think more and more now they're like, no, I'm going to take my vacation. I'm going to figure out a way to get on this vacation. And if I can't afford this place, I'll find that travel dupe and I'll go to that place.
Yep.
And so I think I've been looking to travel for the last couple of weeks and I couldn't make it work. I'm going this weekend officially. I'm not going to say where I'm going, but I'm going and I'll let everybody know after. Somewhere will happen.
I love that you're like, I'm not going to say where. Why? You don't want to jinx it, or you don't want us to show up and say hi?
Maybe both. No, I'm joking. I still haven't finalized the plan, but it's happening. We're
Okay.
going.
Okay.
We
Okay.
got 2 locations.
This is
But
wild. I like this other stat. 73% say that they are in desperate need of a vacation.
yeah, there's a lot of people that are just burnt out. In our industry,
Yeah.
other industries, we see it. I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of people working extra hard. There's a lot of layoffs going on at a lot of
Yeah,
big
there's that
companies.
too.
And the people who are working are just like, I don't want to be in that next round. I'm going to put in
Yeah.
all this effort. And, I'm lucky enough that I'm married to a fantastic attorney, but she does labor and employment law. And so does my dad. And when you see it, a lot of bad things happening in companies. So a lot of people working extra hard.
Oof. Yeah. Oh my God. Sorry. I just saw Lou's comment saying I was easily amused with Justy. Yeah, I know. Easily amused. Yeah, it's woo. Wait, Lou's about to go on a 21-day cruise? 21 days?
I like it.
I
3 weeks.
So yeah, interesting. Funny that because I might be going to Southeast Asia. Well, I'm supposed to be in September, and it's going to be probably like 18 days. So that's a long time. I mean, it's
Mhm.
granted it's work,
But
but
you can work from anywhere. I was just talking with my wife about this. If you could work from anywhere, like be a digital nomad, wouldn't you do? Or do you miss being like in a home base? Because you do it a
oh,
lot.
I like a home base. So another thing that I also do that I always try to come home in between trips. Even though it may not be convenient, I want to come home for a lot of things. To me, it's a great reset, even if it's only for a couple of hours. I travel for so many different reasons, whether it might be like speaking at something and I might have more professional attire, or maybe I'm filming and then it's going to like be beachy attire. So even like what I'm traveling with, it's not like universal. Like I have to come home for a costume change.
Yeah, that's true. And you
I
don't have
mean,
a doggy or a cat, right? So you
no.
can go and be places.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I'd like to come home. Like I do enjoy. Like I'm back. I've got like 2 weeks back. I am so happy about it. Like it's great to be here. Just getting a whole routine, all of that,
Yeah, I kind of
all of
dream
that.
like, all right, take a month to go somewhere and just like work for a month, take the whole unit, family somewhere, work,
Well,
do that.
a month is cool, but like taking a month and then going to different places within that month, no, that would be
No, like going somewhere, being somewhere, like
maybe
living in
yeah.
that place. But there's some people we know that don't have homes and they're not at home. So it's interesting to see how that works.
I can't do that. I have too many hair products for that. Um, kidding, but not. All right. So on that note, why don't we go
Just
into
the
our
vacations. I like how you said it. Now I got it. It's
just
locked in.
the vacations? Exactly. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about our real time recap. What have you seen out there in the streets of
I've
hospitality?
been in the streets. I've been working on a project, and this is more just something I want to give a shout out to.
Okay.
Room
Okay.
service and mini bar. A lot of hotels sometimes give up on them.
Mhm.
But I like seeing the 24-hour room service is still going at a lot of luxury
Yeah.
hotels. But I just did a study where some hotels that I thought were still doing 24-hour room service are not. A lot of these 5-star, 5 diamond, and talking to them, they're just missing that overnight staff. It's harder to find overnight staff to give this.
Interesting.
So, the hotels that still have it that I called, the Lowe's Miami Beach Hotel, still have their
Mhm.
24-hour room service. The One Hotel on South Beach still has their 24-hour room service. And the
Mhm.
Satai still has 24-hour room service. And those were the only ones I could find that still have 24-hour room service. The rest go to like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. But I still like that extra luxury. Like when you're traveling, like it's something fun about in-room dining and having it available all the time for you. Not that I stay up that late anymore, but I like sometimes get up early, like at 5:30, and there's nothing available at that time, right? The coffee shop doesn't open until 6. You know, the restaurants usually don't open until 7. So I always liked having that room service available at that time.
No, that's definitely, it's interesting that you bring that up, because it's certainly something that I notice. I've been stalking my room more when I travel, just because of having sometimes I have a late night just because of work. Sometimes I have early mornings. And it's like, I know, and we all know I like to drink my energy drinks. So it's like I stock up on like whatever I need to like help get me out of the door if I am up at 5 a.m. So yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up, because it isn't as prevalent as it used to be.
No, it used to be like you stayed in a luxury 5-star, 5-diamond hotel, you had it. So I was surprised with the ones that I called, which was almost all of them. And these are the ones that still have it consistently.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So my real-time recap. I was trying to think of something here. No, it's interesting. And it's also even kind of like a plug for a company as well too. So it was standard. We've all been there. We go to dinner and then like you wait and then you wait and you wait for your bill, the check to me. And it was a classic thing. I was like, ooh, I'm still hungry. I want to order a little bit more. And it took this server so much time to come back to me that by the time she came back, I'm like, I'm not even going to order more food. And so lost on that. And then waiting for the check to be delivered. Man, it's so frustrating. So keep that in mind. Like if you've got anybody at restaurants in your property like that, they have to be on top of it. Like you can't, I get it. Like some people want to not really be bothered, or they want to like dine at a leisurely pace, but like you also have to check in with individuals. So I don't know. But there is a company, my friends over at Zoomy, that are working to kind of provide a solution for that kind of have like automatic billing, which I'm sure we'll be seeing more on. So yeah.
I like that.
Piqued your interest there. But yeah. So
yeah, that could ruin a great meal. You could have the best meal ever, and then you have to wait 15, 20 minutes, and then you're just like, all right, I'm ready to go, man. We have some stuff to do up here.
I went out on Saturday night, which I don't normally do, and went just into a casual sushi place, and it took forever. I also went to the Chateau Marmont, and that, man, that it is fancy, but it's so cool because I know like the right people, and it can just like stroll in. It's kind of nice to be.
I've never been. I gotta go over to your side of the country.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. We'll make something happen. All right, why don't we go to our hospitality quote?
Let's do it.
Lori, recap energy drinks and handstands. I'm sorry, I just saw that. That's hilarious. Yes, Lori, you've learned well. Energy drinks and handstands. By the way, I can't do handstands, but I can do pull-ups and push-ups. So I should have probably led with that. We'll keep going.
Have you been watching the Olympics before we get into this quote?
Yeah. I have to say, my favorite part of the Olympics is Snoop Dogg.
Representing LA.
Love. What the Snoop Dogg is like, he's the mascot we didn't know we needed.
Yes, for sure. I love it. I loved him and Martha Stewart. That's my favorite combo. I could watch their reality TV show. They're going to like, you see them at the fancy restaurant and her trying to get him to eat escargot.
Yes.
I like that. It was very funny.
I know. They've got some fun. It was her birthday while she was there. So yeah, no, it's been interesting. Have you been watching?
I have. We watch we try to watch it live, but my kids are into it now. It's their first Olympics that they really get to see and remember. So it's cool to see them watching it for the first time.
Whoever's doing, I feel like in general, they're having more fun with like the social side of things, like the social recaps. It's fun to see all the Olympic stuff. So that's kind of neat.
Keep watching. But now they're eating croissants because they've been watching Paris. So we got croissants from Trader Joe's. And then we were like, we need better croissants. So we went to a local bakery and they're eating croissants while they watch the Olympics. So it's pretty cool.
Love. Okay. Now we're our hospitality quote. Sorry, guys. Sorry. But everybody's got to get to work and we got to get on track here. Okay. You want to go ahead and read that?
Absolutely. Is this the quote here on the screen, or is it the one here? Our full humanity is
Yeah.
contingent on our hospitality. We can be complete only when we are giving something away. When we sit at the table and pass the peas to the person next to us, we see that the person in a whole new way. By Alice Waters.
Yeah, I love that idea. Sorry, that was a long quote, but basically it's this reminder that, you know, it's like when we're actually like breaking bread with somebody, like you see the humanity and that it's it doesn't matter what our differences are or anything. It just and we're sharing when we're kind of like for that's why they say sharing is caring. That's why
Mm-hmm.
we teach kids. Well, I mean, you can chime in more on this than me, but this is why we teach kids to share because it's like in that act of sharing, you see the real humanity with people.
Yeah, listen, I think that when I've sat down with people from all over the world, I think hotels gives this more than anywhere at hospitality. You work with so many people of different backgrounds.
Totally.
And I was exposed to so many things at a young age that I was never exposed to. And it changed my mindset because you live in your little bubble. And when you get exposed, you're like, wow, everyone's just cool. Everyone just wants to live and be kind for the most part and have a good life. And just because they have a different point of view doesn't mean that I can't have a meal with them and converse.
No.
And so I love
Oh,
that. I love
yeah.
this little quote and what it means.
I do too. It's a good reminder. The hospitality is so it brings us back to the human side of things. So we are very special that we get to work in that industry in
Mhm.
one way or another.
Yep. I think it was a good show. We gave a lot today. We're over
Ooh,
by 6 minutes. So we definitely enjoyed being on here today.
totally did. Totally did. This was awesome. So I mean, more to come next week. Always thank you guys. Oh, I love Lou said this. This is actually nice. Travel's so revealing to know people. It really is. And for the
Mhm.
good and the
And the bad.
man, maybe not so good. But yes, good show. High five,
Great show.
buddy.
Listen, we'll keep bringing the energy drinks and handstands next week. And
Woo!
if there was something in the show that you liked or think that might be of value to somebody, make sure to share it with them. You never
Yes,
know who you might be helping. And
exactly.
until next week, bye.
Bye.